We are now joined by tonight's winner of the O'Reilly Auto Parts 300, Kyle Busch, driver of the number 54 Monster Energy Toyota. This is Kyle's 110th NASCAR victory. He has 55 in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, 25 in the Sprint Cup, and 30 in Truck. This is his record 6th NASCAR Nationwide Series at Texas Motor Speedway, breaking a tie with Kevin Harvick. And it's the first time a driver has won 4 of the first 6 races in the NASCAR Nationwide Series.
I wish I had 55 Cup wins.
Kyle, talk about your dominance here at Texas Motor Speedway and your run tonight.
Oh, well, it certainly doesn't come easy, but these guys here from Joe Gibbs Racing make it seem that way. It was we unloaded pretty well, and we kept working on the race car all through practice and everything, just trying to make it better, make it more comfortable for me to drive, and more comfortable for me to make speed. And Adam did a really good job at that. We made some smart changes throughout practice and everything, and then here through the race, at first run of the race, I was a little worried. I didn't think my car was that tight, but Sam and Brad, they just drove away from me, so I thought we were going to have our hands full tonight. But again, Adam made some phenomenal race calls there and got us a lot of adjustment into the race car that helped me out, gave me a lot of speed, and was able to continue on making some changes throughout the race that got us to where we were continuing to gain speed each and every run. And just there at the end of the race, that through the middle part of the race, I should back up. Tire strategy deal was kind of going to worry us a little bit, just depending on if we got caught out and didn't get a caution. But the cautions all fell nicely tonight for us, and that we were able to get our strategy back into play, and of course come get our tires. And then there towards the end, the cautions fell enough to where everybody was back on the same cycle, so it sort of was obsolete. But real fast car there at the end of the race, man. Just pleasure to drive, and easy to drive hard to make speed like that. Felt good to win.
Also joined by winning crew chief Adam Stevens. If you could again talk about this evening, and as he mentioned, some of the tire strategy that went into this win.
Yeah, was this thing on? It got a little messed up there pretty early. Typically don't get a lot of cautions early in the race here, and we did. And Nationwide Series with only 5 sets of tires to run the race, at a track like this where tires mean so much, if you get a lot of cautions, you're inevitably going to get mixed strategies. So that happened, and it was starting to get a little bit hairy. When you get those quick cautions after you get tires on, it kind of negates your advantage, and vice versa. So we had to take our turn and go to the back, and Kyle and Hirschman, our spotter, did a good job of keeping the fenders on it. And we all realized exactly what we had, and Kyle stayed really patient and made sure that we had something to race with at the end. And then when the cautions came back to us there, we were in our window, but only by a few laps, and we decided to stay out, banking on there were going to be some more cautions. And a couple guys came down and topped off, and the big worry then was that it was going to go green, and then we wouldn't be sitting here right now. But history said we would get some, and we did. Well, we got one, but we only needed one. So we got our tires on, and that washed everything out. Everybody was back even again. And I think we did, as a team, a good job setting up for the end of the race and keeping that in mind even before we got here, and not over-adjusting when it wasn't quite right early in the race. And Kyle, I think, just did a phenomenal job managing what he had and keeping his head on his shoulders and making sure that he had something to race with at the end.
We also have winning car owner J.D. Gibbs. J.D., obviously, talk about the success the team has had so far this season.
Yeah, I think what's interesting is both Adam and Kyle just make it look easy. And as you guys know, this isn't easy, what they do and week in, week out. And so we just have a neat crew, all of our teams, and they just work hard, and it's a lot of discipline, and they have a lot of gifts, and so it's fun to watch them excel.
Go ahead and open up for questions. If you could, raise your hand. Drew back here.
Yeah, Kyle, obviously you won 5 nationwide races in a row. and there's been 5 since then. Did it feel like any sort of a drought, or has it felt like it's been a while since you've been to victory lane here, or not? Or?
Yeah, a little bit. I certainly thought that I could have made it 6 in a row, but some restarts kind of screwed that race up there towards the end. But it was tough to see the streak end that day, but it's cool to see us back in the victory lane here today. I've been fast here before, and we had a shot here to win last fall. We were really fast in the Monster Energy car for KBM that day, and just didn't quite have enough towards the end. We were really trying to fight hard on the outside and make time up right there, but we just couldn't get enough, just enough turn through the corner in order to make that happen. But to be back in victory lane here today feels good, and it's Adam's first win here, so that's neat. His first cowboy hat, but hopefully there'll be plenty more to come, and we can try it again here in the fall. Is it hot here?
Jerry Fraley from the Dallas Morning News. Kyle, just wonder, how do you get through a day that was as jammed with activity as today was, and do you do anything sort of like sleep in tomorrow or something after all the activity today?
Yeah, certainly. Today was busy. We had an early practice with Nationwide, and then we had some cup practices there. We had a little bit of downtime, through qualifying and whatnot. But after cup qualifying, when we won the pole there, man, it was chaotic. I mean, we had to be in the media or in the victory lane to do that sort of deal, and get awarded our helmet and everything, and then of course do the photos and talk to the media that was out there about our pole run. And then I'm still in an interstate uniform, so then I'm slammed to run back to the hauler and change into my Monster uniform and try to grab a bite of dinner because I hadn't eaten anything. So tried to get some of that down, and thank the wife for making that for me. She did a good job. So I think it was well broadcast on TV anyways. So maybe I can get a Dixie plate deal and do it every week. But it was quite chaotic there for a little bit. But once I got in the race car and got down to my own space and my own time, it was, ready to get going.
Mark Garrow, PRN, for Kyle and Adam. First, Kyle, out there, different tire strategies, and just how hard is it to sort of keep in the mind you don't have them, they do at certain points, and they're pulling away, and you're still having to try to keep doing your thing. And Adam, at any point did other people's strategy start to make you second guess what you were trying to do to set yourself up for the end? You can go first.
Yeah, I mean, you're always keeping an eye on everybody. It never got evenly split on strategy. It wasn't like, say there's 20 good cars, 10 good cars did one thing and 10 good cars did another. It was majority of us were on one strategy, and a couple guys with not much to lose were on a different strategy. So it wasn't setting itself up to be a heartbreaker until we got the caution just on the edge of the window, and we only had, I think, 6 or 8 green flag laps on our tires. It was too early to put the tires on, but the guys that were far enough back on the lead lap came in and topped off, and some of them, the 88 did put tires on. And they did what you expected them to do. And, the rest of us expected a caution and knew we needed to have tires, but, if we don't get that caution, there's nothing you can do. So, there's a little bit of good fortune there. There's a little bit of statistical analysis there, but you're always second guessing yourself when it comes to something like that. Well, you're mindful of what's going to take for you to get to victory lane. You're not necessarily second guessing yourself. You're making the best decision with the information in front of you.
Yeah, and for me on my end, I was sort of second guessing it for a while, especially if it went green a little bit longer. But you've got to suck it up, and you've just got to take your lumps right there. It's early in the race, and you're not quite to halfway, so you couldn't go through half your tires before halfway in the race. You know what I mean? So it's just tough in that respect. But you just settle in. You work as hard as you can to try to, I wouldn't say slow those guys down that were trying to pass you, but just not let them slow you down. Just keep your momentum going. Keep trying to run at least your own pace as much as you can while they're going by you because they're faster than you. And also I was playing just watching off the 22 and the 12 and how far back I was falling from those guys. And I felt like at first I was really falling back from them, but that's just because there was a gaggle of 6 cars that got to me and all went by me in a hurry. And then it took them a little bit while longer to get by the 22 and stuff. But when the caution flew, I felt like I was about 3 laps from passing the 22 back, you know. So it was quite interesting the way all that was playing out.
Bob.
Bob Hocker, Sporting News. The pole for the Nationwide Series was about 183. Your pole in Cup is 196. So first off, can you feel that difference in speed? And by going that much faster in the Cup car, will you guys wear out those tires quicker, or is it just different way that you run it wouldn't have an impact?
Good question. I think we did see some tire wear, but once the track rubber's in, you tire wear diminishes a little bit, so they don't have as much wear, but you can definitely feel the speed. I mean, you are hauling butt around here in a Cup car. You know, it's certainly a lot different. And it's funny because the Nationwide cars are almost wide open. They're not quite wide open. And I was just looking at the record board right there where Jeff Green has a record in Nationwide at a 27.90 at 193 miles an hour. And you said we qualified at what? 183?
And Nationwide pole is 29.4.
29.4? Oh. Wow. That's a lot different. That's slower than the truck track record. I never realized that. That's crazy. But I tell you what, they were getting it back in 2002. Glad I wasn't here for that one. So, I mean, tire wear is going to be important tomorrow. Certainly, you can run hard if you want to. And we saw a little bit in practice. There's a couple guys that would really run hard right off, you know, going out on new tires and run some really quick lap times. But about lap 10, 12, 14, that you'd really start to see them suffer and fall off more than the guys that would just run a decent pace and sort of keep that pace going a little bit better throughout a run. So you're going to have to be, I'd say you're going to have to be a little bit on tire management side tomorrow.
Question back.
Kyle, Carlotta Schmicken, Hill Country Happenings Magazine. Thanks for a great race tonight.
Thank you.
Always enjoy seeing you win. Do you prefer day racing or night racing, and why?
Well, I kind of missed a point to Bob's question, which is, you know, for a day race here, it would definitely get a lot more interesting with tire wear and tire strategy and everything. But with a night race, I feel like you're going to be a lot better off. You know, the tires aren't going to fall off as much. You can hustle the car a little bit more. You still will have to pay attention to how your car falls off. But I tell you what, I mean, nowadays everybody runs 100% every lap anyways, so there's not much saving. You just have to have a better car than that guy, or you have to do a better job of setting up your car than another guy. So, but to answer your question, I enjoy night racing. It's where we all kind of come from. We run Friday nights, Saturday nights at our local short tracks all across the country, and it's fun to be able to do that. And you know, it's neat though to be able to have Sunday shows. You know, you need some of those because it sort of shows your presence in the world of auto racing. And being on Sunday, obviously it's not a Saturday night like you have the local racers that are at the racetrack running their own stuff. Well, on Sundays they can sit at home and watch the big guys go after it, you know. So there's two sides to that, but I enjoy both.